In my 17 years of experience in business, and I've built now 2 successful businesses, I can tell you that people are so afraid of the failure, but this is just the part of the process, right? And I know a lot of entrepreneurs are coming into the business and they're expecting, now I'm going to start my business, everything is going to go smooth and money will come, the clients will come. Look at my product, it's so great. There is no way it's not going to be
Right.
successful. And obviously, this is illusion, right? You will have challenges. You have to have the guts, you have to have the strength, and you have to have the mindset. The only one thing that defines for me failure, if you give up, that's it. If you give up on your goal or on your dream, for me, this is failure.
Welcome to the Illuminating Wisdom podcast. I'm your host, Marcia Narine Weldon, and I'm a lawyer, business strategist, corporate trainer, and executive coach. Each week, I'm going to bring you my favorite entrepreneurs, thought leaders, legal professionals, and other coaches who will inspire, educate, and empower you. Welcome to the podcast. I'm here with Liene Uresina. She's a business coach, a public speaker, an entrepreneur, a hypnotherapist. I have to read because there's so many things here. A best-selling author in Latvia and a businesswoman with a very bold mission to help 1 million people. I love that because I've got a bold mission too. So welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I want to start off with something that a lot of people talk about. Everyone talks about manifestation. Maybe they've seen The Secret or they watch TikTok or YouTube channels or Instagram, and everyone's got the secret to manifestation. And I know you've spoken about this. So what I want to ask you first is, what do people do wrong when it comes to manifesting that ideal life, when it's relationships, money, health?
Okay, that's a kind of a very broad question.
We could
But
spend an entire hour just on that question,
okay, but
but
that's a very important question. I
Mhm.
think there are 2 categories of people. Okay, so one of the category of the people, they are thinking that the manifestation is if you are just making a vision board and let it on the wall and forgetting about it. So I do not believe in this, because I do believe that we need to cooperate with the universe or with God, whatever we call it, the source, right? It's
Mhm.
kind of the whole point of us achieving our goals or our manifestation is to become the best version of ourselves, right? So I'm always saying it's not about what you achieve, but who you become on the way when you achieve your goal. We are just so focused on the goals, but it's so important. Who am I becoming? Because with the same thinking, with the same speaking, with the same emotional state, with the same actions, I cannot achieve the result. Otherwise, I would be there already. So I
Right.
need to change in order for me to achieve or manifest whatever I want. Another side of people, they are thinking that you need just hustle, work, do. It's all about doing, right? But as Tony Robbins says, and I used to be one of Tony Robbins' coaches as well. So he always says that it is always about 80% of your mindset and only 20% of your actions. So, what I consider as a mindset is your belief system, right? Your thinking, your emotional state, and also the vibration that you are in on the daily basis, right? So, if these things are not in place, you're not able to manifest. Because if you want to, okay, you want to manifest, I don't know, 10 million instantly, but you think,
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah, nothing wrong with that. Like, but you're thinking, well, the money is the root of all evil. And money really damages people. And and my uncle was really mean, and he was rich, and he was so stingy. He was never sharing, and he was corrupted. So, there's no way that you're going to manifest just because you have the blockage already that is not allowing this money to come in. So these 2 types of people, they're both making mistakes. So I guess the question is, so what is manifestation? How we can manifest? It is very
Right.
easy, but at the same time very difficult, right? So in easy way, because I believe we come really pure, beautiful babies in this world,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like we are so cute. We don't have any like belief system. The world is safe. Mommy is there. We don't have any, you know, any beliefs, any limiting beliefs, any understanding what is beautiful, what is not ugly, what is fat, what is skinny. And then all the people around us are starting to put in our minds what is world safe, is world dangerous. So we grow up and then we start to put the blockages for ourselves. So what I'm saying, you just need to unleash yourself to clear all these things, the limiting beliefs, the fears, and to become who you really are, to get back to yourself.
So give me some concrete steps that some people can do, because people might say, all right, that sounds great,
Right.
sounds wonderful, but what do I do today? Because
Mhm.
today I've got to make sure I can pay my mortgage next week, or today I'm really lonely and I want to find my life partner. What are some things you talk about limiting beliefs, right? These are things that kind of keep us stuck where we are. What are some concrete suggestions you have? And I know you've written a book, and we're going to talk about that in a little while.
Okay.
But what are some specific things that you might recommend? Maybe just one or two things,
Okay.
because of course we want people to buy your book.
Right.
So,
So now, well, I'm always here to share. I don't need that people buy. I'm here to serve. I want that people understand. That's the whole point of the book.
right.
Whether I'm saying speaking here or through my book, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
So let's say you want to manifest money. You need to be very specific. What do you want? Very specific, because you can say I want to manifest 10,000, but it's, or I want to manifest a lot of money, or I just want to manifest money. You need to specifically know what you want. And I would add two words: easily and effortlessly, right? You don't want it to come in a hard way. Then we need to understand what is it between you and your desired outcome. So you need to go deeply and search, and usually somebody needs to guide you, or at least to go through some course. But you need to see, so what are my limiting beliefs that are not allowing me to be there already? Otherwise, if I wouldn't have them, I would have 10K, right, at this point.
Right.
So what is holding me back? And then you are like, okay, so 10K. So let's play with you. Let's just play some game. What do you want to manifest?
I want to manifest $100,000 by March 1st.
Okay, fantastic. Easily,
I was
effortlessly.
specific.
Easily,
Oh, sorry.
effortlessly.
I want to manifest $100,000 by March 1st, easily and effortlessly.
Why
How
do you
about that?
want that?
Because I want to be able to give 90% of my money away.
Where are you going to give?
I'm going to give to very specific charities that deal with dementia, with homelessness, with mental illness, etc.
That is very beautiful. So, how is this going to make you feel?
Whenever I give, I feel so alive. I feel light and alive, and I feel like I'm just glowing whenever I give.
Hmm. What is going to change in your life?
That I'm going to be able to be of service to more people,
Okay. So, you're going to
because
be,
that one family that I give money to a charity, that can help several different families. Those people can help others, and I think when we all give, the world is a better place. Right
mm,
now, we do a lot of taking, we don't do a lot of giving.
mm, that is very beautiful. So, what do you think is holding you back? Why you haven't manifested your 100K?
Oh, I think because I'm just too busy doing other things. I haven't prioritized it. Wait a minute, is this a coaching session?
Well, we are just digging deeper to understand
That's
it.
good.
So,
Let's do
you're
it.
too busy, right? Okay. How does like,
You know
how
what?
does that
I
look?
haven't I haven't prioritized it. I think when people say they're too busy, it's because of what they choose to prioritize. So maybe we'll say that.
I also believe it, but I also believe that sometimes what people say is not what people think. So, what we
Hmm,
need to do, we need to look into your subconscious mind and see what keeps you busy, right?
got it. Got it.
What keeps you busy, Marcia?
Oh my goodness. All my many jobs.
Your many jobs.
Teaching, practicing law, doing so many other things. Because it's interesting that you say that, because I could have $100,000 by March 1st if I chose not to do certain things. I love what I do so much that I would almost do it for free, which is a problem.
Mm.
And that I think subconsciously is the issue, right?
Mhm.
Because I love what I do so much that I would almost do it for free, it makes earning more money less important to me.
Mm.
So I think that might be my blockage. Look at that.
So I think what I'm hearing so far, and please correct me if I'm wrong, maybe that's my assumption. So what I'm thinking is that there is some challenge for you to accept like money, and maybe there is some like what I feel because I'm looking into your energy field as well.
Mhm.
It's like you cannot help, you cannot do some charity work and ask money for that, right? There is something that I'm feeling there. Is it true?
I know where it is. I know where it is. It is because, and this is something I've been thinking about, and something that I know a lot of people who are similar to me, when we just want to give and we can give freely, it's not that we don't think we deserve the money, but we're not doing it for the money, which means that we somehow undervalue ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there's many times when I'll have people say, "Can you do this presentation? Can you do this?" And it's something I should charge for because I know what I'm worth. I know how many years I've spent studying or learning or becoming an expert.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just say, "Oh, it's okay. I'll do it. Don't worry about it. You're a small organization, or you're a small nonprofit, or you're a small this, or don't worry about it." And I don't do that. I don't charge what I should because I feel like it's a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that many people who want to serve devalue themselves by not charging what they're worth because it's so easy
Mm-hmm.
and it's such a gift and it feels like if I can help this person they can help so many other people, but without actually providing the financial and monetary compensation to it, you cheat yourself and I cheat myself.
So it means like you are not feeling worthy to ask money for your job.
I don't think that's it, actually. For me, I don't think that's it,
Yeah.
but I do understand where that can come from. I don't think that's it. I think it's more of I think there's always more. I can always, I'm not going to charge this small company or this nonprofit because I can always go there. What I probably should do, and what I think most of our listeners should do, we should probably get out of that because to the extent that you have something of value, you need to charge that value
Okay,
and
here's
not give things for free.
here is something that I learned. When people ask from me money or something, and they are coming like, I have hard situation, and then they come the second time and they say, can you
Mhm.
also borrow me money? And I usually say no, and I will tell you why. Because it means that I don't believe that this person is capable of taking care of themselves. And why I'm saying this to you, so it's kind of you are victimizing those companies that
You're right.
you are talking to or helping and not believing that they can have something more or bigger. Because if we understand that everybody is earning based on what they feel, what they know, and what they are worthy of, right?
Hmm.
They're worth. And if they are not making it, so something is there in the subconscious mind not working correctly. Again, limiting beliefs, motivation, energy. We can dig deeper into this. And when you are giving something in such an easy way,
Hmm.
firstly, they will never appreciate it,
You're right.
right? They will not hustle. They were like, Marcia came and gave us some consultation. It was nice, but they will not take action because I have coached over 1,000 people. I don't know, 2,000 people, and I can tell you the psychology of the people when they get something for free or for very small money. They are taking very small action, and they are
100% agree.
wondering why I don't have the results. So I'm never victimizing people. Instead, I'm encouraging. And if I say, this is my price, this is how much it costs, and I truly believe if you need it, you will find a way. And you know what's going to happen? That person is going to say, they're going to go, they will say, they will have the leverage in the first place, and they will say, I want to work with Liene. And they will find that money, and they will be, I'm so proud of myself. Look, I was thinking I can't, and now I can. And this is the source that we can work with, right? In the future. You know what I mean?
Well, I will say that I have gotten better at this. The last two proposals that I sent out, when the company came back and said, "Can you go down a little bit?" I said, "No, I can't." And actually, I didn't say I can't. I said I'm not willing to do that. And then they came back and said they were able to do it. So I do think, and so let's kind of circle back now that we've done this whole therapy session of me. Let's circle back to some key lessons because I want listeners to hear this. This is whether you are applying for a job and you say this is the salary that I want, and they try to lowball you, or whether you've got a proposal, or whatever it is that you're doing. If you don't know what your value is, it is very easy for others to devalue you,
Mhm.
right? And then they will sit there and say, because I think it's the same thing. There's a reason that people there's a line at the Louis Vuitton store sometimes to
Right.
get in when really it's a handbag, right? And you could use a handbag from a much less expensive company, but there is a value, a premium value that they know they can get, and they're not worried. They're not going to go on sale.
So
And
true.
I think a lot of times we put ourselves on sale because we think, what if they don't want to pay? Then they don't, because there's always more.
Yeah,
So,
the
when
world
I
is
kind of gave
abundant.
my, when I kind of gave the, because I haven't prioritized it, I think I was thinking more in the past, because actually the past few weeks I've actually really kind of changed in how I'm thinking about these things. And I'd rather not do it than do something for a lower fee. And I think we all need to think about that, all of the people listening in, because then we start to resent people, right? We start to resent the job
Mhm.
if we don't feel that we're valued.
Mhm.
Whether it's the job, the career, a lot of my listeners are lawyers or people in professional services or consultants. And when you lowball yourself, then you resent the client, you resent yourself, and no one is really happy with that.
Yeah, and also, you see, I asked you a very important question at the beginning. Why do you want that? How is this
Hmm.
going to make you feel? Because the money will not come if you don't have strong enough why. And when you were speaking about it, you were like, your eyes were lighting up and you were like already there, and I
Yeah.
can help those people. But when I spoke about existing time that you're
Hmm.
spending with these companies, where you're like, I didn't feel this, the light there, because
Yeah.
you don't feel appreciated there enough. Because when you receive money, okay, I'm serving, I'm receiving money. So it's just the way the universe works. And some
Hmm.
people are giving too much money, and some people are holding too much money to themselves, right? There are again two types of people, so you need to see whether you are in one side or
Right.
another side, and then you need to do the opposite to practice and train yourself. So if you are not able to ask money, you must ask even more, so that you train and
Yep.
become like, okay, so if I understand the abundance is there in the universe, God wants us to be rich, wealthy, millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires, right? Whatever I want, then I'm the only one who is holding it back. And if I don't ask from the person, well, it's my choice. And God says, like, if you make that decision, no problem. But your eyes were shining when you were
They do
speaking.
shine when I think about serving others. And
Yes.
I think, so I'm going to ask you, what's a limiting belief that you had and how did you get past it?
Oh my goodness. You better ask me which limiting belief I didn't have, right? Because I'm
Right.
coming from very poor family
Hmm.
and really hardworking, and our country is post-Soviet system country, and everybody was equal, and it was all about work. We even when I was very little, we even didn't have the money. We were getting food with the tickets. My
Right.
mom, right? I don't remember that well, but my mom was telling me. And we didn't have bananas. When I was walking with my mother and I saw bananas for the first time when they brought in the country, I was like, Mommy, what is this? The yellow thing, I want to try. And she was like, you will not like this. And actually, she said, you will not like this because she couldn't afford this, right?
Right.
So all the time, what I saw was the lack. And sometimes mom was standing on the bus station and counting the pennies just because she couldn't pay the bills. She had to borrow money from her friend. Or I never see even my mother. My mom was working so hard 24/7 just because she had to bring the bread and take care of the family. And while other children were playing outside, I was staying at home and waiting for my mom. Just that was how much I missed her. So I
Right.
formed the belief that in order for you to make money, you need to work really hard, or there is always a lack. If you are buying food for the tickets, which abundance are we talking about, right? You can only have this amount of bread, so the sausage, whatever they were selling back then, right? And so this was also, there is a lack, there is not enough. Actually, this is the new that came through that I now remember. Another belief was money is causing a lot of challenges and problems because my mom was always fighting with my father about the
Yep.
money because, in our side, women are mostly stronger and they kind of historically already taking care of the families just because men got killed in the war, right? They were never at home. So it was like it's all generation after generation. So, and all of these things around money were with me. And here I am coming into the world, and the girl who has lots of energy, lots of dreams, seeing something, seeing my friends who have money more than I have, and like, I want that all. And I don't have any of this. Like, really, I was working in when I was 19, I was making $200 per month, plus studying. And I was so hungry, I really wanted. And then I had to find a way, and then started my personal development journey where I started to search and search. And then I started our business in 2009, me and my husband. We started our first fast food restaurant in Latvia,
Hmm.
like with $17,000 in the pocket. We started from scratch. I don't know again how we did it, but just we are so hungry people and we are kind of making from impossible to possible. And within a few years, we grew to 10 restaurant chain selling
Wow.
franchises abroad, like people, companies from Sweden, from Germany, they were coming and looking how we are leading the company because they called us as the fastest growing fast food chain in the Latvia, right? And we were kind of even beating McDonald's, and it was very,
Wow.
very successful. But I was working around the clock. I was miserable. I would go on vacation. I would always get sick. I like just I would get sick. We were spending time in the hospital on our vacations because the body was so tired that finally it was like, whew, now you can breathe, and you get sick, you have your throat and fever and everything you can imagine. So I had
Right.
to learn from that experience. Then I came to the point where, I didn't learn my lessons. And, there is a saying, firstly, God is whispering, then
Hmm.
God is knocking, and then God is like kicking with a leg door. And I didn't hear my whisper. I didn't hear the knock. And there were some big problems in the business. And I was pregnant at that time, so I lost the baby at the
Oh
same
my
time.
gosh.
Also, we
I'm so
almost
sorry.
lost the business. Like it was so the one of the first lowest points of my life at that point. I will tell you, I was 29 years old. It was already like 12 years ago. And there I started to question everything that was happening because I came out of the hospital. And 1 week later, again, I got in the hospital because I had appendix. It's just, it hit me so hard, but I guess I'm so strong that God said, otherwise, you will not understand. Girl, we need to
Right.
teach you the lesson. And I'm grateful actually for all of that. And now I have two healthy and beautiful kids. But then I started to shift and change everything in my life. It's like,
And it's
no, it can't
unfortunate
be
that you
that.
had to go through that, but I think a lot of people have to go through something where life will just knock you down. They say the body keeps the score for all the past issues that happen, and similar things happened to me. There was a period of time until I learned to deal with things like anger and resentment toward people who I believed had done me wrong. I was in the hospital 6 times in 6 years for what doctors thought were heart attacks or strokes. Never was a heart attack or stroke.
It was
But
panic
until I
attack.
started,
Was it a
it
panic attack?
wasn't. It was because I actually have a heart condition, but it was exacerbated by tremendous levels of stress. But I remember being in the stroke ward, and I am by far the youngest person, but it was never a stroke or a heart attack. But my heart reacted because I hadn't learned to forgive or let go of anger or those kinds of things. And when and just like you, when you work really hard or you do things and you don't listen to your body, right? I think, is the body's way of saying, you need to rest and we're going to make you rest.
Mhm.
If you won't rest one way, we'll find a way for you to rest another way, whether that's mentally resting, whether that's physically resting,
So true.
whether that's rest, maybe it's just because when you are in the hospital, as you know, you can't do that much work. You can only do so much, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
sometimes, and we think, and you hear people say, I'll sleep when I'm dead. That's a terrible thing because, you don't want that to happen where you are in a hospital or God forbid, losing a baby or something like that to teach you, listen to the whisper, whether it is you believe in God, a higher power, the universe, or just yourself. You've got to listen to what that
Mhm.
is. So that's an important. I want to switch gears to something else that relates to that a little bit, and that's the thought of being an entrepreneur and dealing with success and failure. Because you said there was a period of time when you almost lost the business, everything was falling apart. How do you define failure and how do you define success?
Oh, that's a very beautiful question. So, for me, in my 17 years of experience in business, and I've built now two successful businesses, I can tell you that the people are so afraid of the failure, but this is just the part of the process, right? And I know a lot of entrepreneurs are coming into the business and they're expecting, now I'm going to start my business, everything is going to go smooth and money will come, the clients will come. Look at my product, it's so great. There is no way it's not going to be
Right.
successful. And obviously, this is illusion, right? You will have challenges nonstop. And that's why I say, not everybody can be an entrepreneur. It's just you have to have the guts, you have to have the strength, and you have to have the mindset to go through those moments when there are lowest points, right? Because this is very, very hard. And when you understand that this is just a part of the process, then you are starting just to see things like, okay, so this is the challenge. How can I solve it? So now for me, failure actually is the only one thing that defines for me failure. If you give up, that's it. If you give up on your goal or on your dream, for me, this is failure. The
Okay, let me
rest
push
is
back
not the
on you.
failure.
Let me push back on you for a second.
Okay.
At some point, though, isn't there a point where some people should realize I need to give up? So are you saying there's never a point when somebody should give up? And it's funny that you mentioned this. I was watching a video a few minutes ago, right before I came on, and somebody said the same thing. You never give up. If you don't make it at 30, then you might make it at age 40. You might make it at age 50. But is there a time when somebody, so let's give an example. This is a silly example. I'm not the world's greatest singer. If I have a dream that I want to one day have the lead in a Broadway musical to be able to sing soprano, I mean, I'm sure, I guess there's some level of training and some level of mindset that I can do it. And I know there's been lots of people that have taught, there's lots of studies, and I
Mm-hmm.
use these with my coaching clients about visualization, etc. But at some point, do you say, that may not be for you?
Okay.
Or do you think that no one should ever give up no matter what?
You give up only if you realize this is not your dream. This is somebody else's dream,
Right.
right? But if it's your dream, you never give up. And speaking about singing, I know, like I'm following one guy, and he's like the Russian guy. He has 6 million followers. He like the way he just decided to become a singer. And what I believe about singing, you don't need to be the best singer in order for you to become famous. With nowadays technologies, the way they
Right.
collect the data, it's all about the marketing. And again, it's the numbers game.
You
And
got to be
he's
a
like
better
doing,
performer than a singer.
yeah,
Right.
and you're just doing the reels, and you're just making fancy. He just like when I listen him, I want to close my ears, right? Because it's so bad. But it is so amazing his dedication, his belief, and he's like, whatever I want, I'm gonna get it done. and he practices, he brings together the best talents so that they create the tempo or the music that is now really like stylish and everything, and the people are like liking, loving, and everything. So you know what I mean? I'm saying there
Yes.
are always different ways, and there are so great singers, and they will
Hmm.
have one single and they will just give up because it wasn't the way it was. This guy within 3 months already sung 10 songs. So it's
Yeah,
always the numbers game, and it's always, again, we come back to the mindset, how dedicated I am, how disciplined I am I really ready to do whatever it takes. And why I ask you the question, why do you want that money? Because your why will push you through the moments when you have low points,
absolutely.
right? If you don't have my why, and you will be like, well, I want 100K. It's not motivating. You don't want that money. You just want something, that the feeling that is going to give you money.
Why do you think so many people don't know what they want? And
I think
how
they
do you
know. I
okay.
think that everybody knows because they are so
Okay.
disconnected from themselves. We're too
Hmm.
busy with
Right.
everything, with the people, with the phone, with Instagram, with Facebook, with hustling, with working, running. We are too busy. But the soul knows what you want. And if you are out there, you're not able to hear your soul. And that's why I so much believe in meditations. I have recorded 40 meditations already, just because I so much believe in this, that this is, and I'm also a hypnotherapist, because
Right.
that's the best way how to listen yourself. And what is doing this meditation and hypnosis, it's kind of clearing your, if we are measuring, do you know about
Yes,
theta
absolutely.
brainwave? So we need to go in alpha,
Hmm.
and we need to go in theta, and then we start to hear ourselves.
Let's make sure we, for the people who may not know about alpha, beta, theta, gamma, walk us through what that is and why it's important. Is one of the things that I have often told people to do is, first of all hypnosis is self hypnosis. And sometimes when I want people to kind of get, with some of my coaching clients, when we get past some of their limiting beliefs, I tell them to record themselves in their own voice and then go to sleep listening to that,
Mhm.
because it will get past those subconscious blockages. And while you're sleeping, while that, you're much more receptive
Mhm.
to what you're hearing, which is why, I tell people, please do not fall asleep with the television on, because you don't know what is going into your head, into your ears, right? It's terrible. And I tell people, be careful about listening to other people's subliminal videos on YouTube, because you don't know what's going in.
Mm.
But talk to us about alpha, theta, gamma, beta. Try this again. Alpha, theta, beta, and gamma, what they mean and why they're
It's
important
okay.
for
I
hypnosis
gonna
and
show
helping
the
people out.
pictures. I think it's
Hmm.
gonna be more easy. Brainwave. Okay, so
And you're going to have to describe, because some people are
yeah,
going to be
I will
listening in the
explain.
car as well. Hmm.
Okay, so I think, can you see? Oh, let
I can
me
see.
open. Let me open. So there is a beta state, and this is the state when we are on the daily basis. So there is the
Hmm.
high and low beta state. So the high is when you are like in fight, flight, or freeze state.
Hmm.
And most of the people, Marcia, are living in this fight, flight, or freeze, where they are all the
Yes.
time stressed. And I don't know, your listeners can ask themselves question on the daily basis from 1 to 10. Where is my stress level? 10 is full blown panic attack, and 1 is like really low. And I'm telling you, a lot of people at the number 8. So,
Hmm.
first of all, at number 8, you can't hear yourself. How do you know what you want if you are just too busy in survival mode, right?
Right. You're just trying to make it through the next minute, not even the
Exactly. You
next
just
day.
try to
Right.
make it through the next minute. And especially entrepreneurs, if they don't know how to manage again their mindset, and they just have to pay the bills and solve the problems, they're constantly in this high beta. And so there is a low one that we are right now, right? We are just chatting, you are just speaking. So it's okay, right? And our goal is to go to alpha state, right? Where you are giving up your conscious mind that is thinking, I need to do this, I need to take care of my children, and I need to do the groceries. Oh my gosh, I need to iron something. And all this mind is not allowing you to hear yourself, right? So the whole point is to relax your mind so that you are in the alpha, and in the best way you are in theta brainwave state, right? And then you can ask yourself the questions, because your soul knows the answer, right? It's always knows, your subconscious knows. And when you connect with yourself, and I'm also training my intuition, when there are sometimes the feeling where you don't need to go there, right? You don't
Yep.
need to do this. And all of us have this, the ability to feel, the ability to understand, but we are just too busy, Marcia. And unfortunately, if we don't come back to ourselves, again, the God, universe will test us. They will be whispering in the first place, and then knocking, and then kicking the door with a cancer. I just also at Joe Dispenza met fantastic couple, like so fantastic people. And he also said, I was working so hard 24/7. I am running my own business. I don't give anybody my clients because I think that only I can take care of my clients. And he says,
Mm-hmm.
so I have from the morning till evening my Zoom calls with my clients. And of course, he has a cancer. So he
Mm-hmm.
heals his cancer, and then there is another cancer. And then the radiation, and nothing is helping. And now is the time when he's like, okay, I guess something's got to change. But I want to ask, why do you need to wait when something so
Right.
dramatical is going to happen? Why do you need to delay? Or the sentence that you said that, I will sleep when I will be in grave. Well, if you want to live this precious life like that, good luck. It's not my thing, it's your choice, right? For me, I love life so much. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so grateful every day when I wake up for everything that I have built, that I have. And it's been even in the moments when I didn't have anything, right? When I didn't have money, when I didn't have so beautiful relationship with my husband, when I didn't have kids, I've been always grateful. And I guess my gratitude is really what's attracting so many nice people like you are, right? So
Ah.
many nice opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly this feeling like, oh my gosh, what else is there? So, God, how can I serve you? How can I use me today so that I can help as many people as possible? You
That's
know what
beautiful.
I mean.
I wake up in the morning, I say the same thing. I said, I don't let my feet touch the ground without thanking, the universe for something. And I make sure it's not the same thing, because I think people hear about a gratitude practice and then they get bored with it. They're like, okay, I'm glad I woke up. I'm glad the sun is shining, because they can't think of it. And you want to train your mind to keep looking for things to be thankful for. Right. I had my COVID booster yesterday, 2 days ago, and I woke up this morning feverish and super sick. And I was like, if I cancel this interview again, this woman is never going to speak
Oh,
to me.
oh,
but, but I said, but thank God I can have a vaccine. And thank God I have all of my, I have soup near me and I can order soup from down the street. I said, thank you for all the things that I have. So even though I feel crappy with fever, I have things that can help me. Because if you don't thank, even for the times when you feel terrible, if you don't thank, you have to always look for something. What's that next thing that I can be grateful for? And it completely, people are like, you seem so happy all the time. I said, yeah, because why not? Yes, there's war and famine and terrible things. And I've had a very difficult year with family illnesses, mother with cancer, father with dementia and hospice. But I'm like, but thank God they have health insurance. Thank God. Always look for that one thing you can thank. Thank for the friends that you have. And then I go through the same thing. How can I be used today? How can I be of service to somebody else today? Right. And when you think of it that way, it's less of the world is terrible, all these terrible things are happening to me. It's more of a, what can I do to make it better for somebody else, for myself and somebody else? And when you have that outward focus of service, of what's the one thing I can do. Thank God for the plumber that came and fixed my toilet, because my life would be difficult without it. It doesn't matter. Everybody has a role to play. And I think so few people realize that. They think they don't have the glamorous job, or they don't have all the money, or they don't have, the wonderful going to Dubai in a few weeks or that kind of thing. But what we do have, if you focus on what we do have as opposed to what we don't have, it's a complete shift in mindset. And then when you do that, more will come to you. More of what
This
you
is
want will come to you.
going back to manifestation. Exactly.
Hmm.
Most of the people are saying, I'm going to be happy when I will meet this
Right.
fantastic
I'll
partner.
be happy
I'm going to be
when.
happy when I have money, this new job or whatever. But the truth is, you don't have it because you are not living in that emotional state as it has happened already. So, manifestation is all about living in the emotional state as it has happened already.
Mhm.
This is kind of, and that's why I do meditations, that's why I'm visualizing, that's why I'm doing all the other practices that is helping me to live in that state as it has happened already. And I don't think anymore, when is it going to happen? Also, this is one of the key components that people are like, why it's not happening? When is it going to happen? And this is like, oh, I want to control the God. And God is like, hold on a second, I'm the boss here, I will decide when you're gonna have it, right? So this is about surrendering and believing that I will receive at the right time, at the right place, without me involving into the managing the time. So it's
Right.
really, the life is all about being able to surrender and give up the control. I guess this is the
But
whole
that's
point why we
very
are here.
difficult for people. And you're an entrepreneur, right? And some people listening are entrepreneurs, some aren't. But how do people give up control? And whether that's in business, because again, if you're talking to a business person, they say, of course I have to be in control. I've got to make sure the inventory is here. I got to make sure the employees get paid. I've got to make sure the marketing is done right. In a world right now, as we're recording this, there's so much going on where people feel that they're not in control. How do you tell somebody to surrender? And what does that
Marcia,
actually look like?
I'll tell you, I think the COVID is the biggest gift for all the nations because this was exactly the time when we realized that we are not in the control of anything.
Hmm.
We are not in a control of the business, money, even freedom and everything else. The only thing we can control is our state. We can control the way we think, the way we behave, the way we act. This is the only thing that we can control. And you don't need to be so like shallow and think like, oh, I will now give up control in my business, my processes. You need to control the processes in your business. But if something is happening that is out of your control and you have done the best you can at that situation, then this is the moment when you give up the need to control and when you say like, okay, did I do my best? Yes. So now, God, universe, source, whatever, now I'm giving this to you. Please help me and please guide me. What's meant for me is gonna stay with me. What's not
Right.
meant for me, it's not gonna come. Whatever, as hard I'm gonna try, it will be out there. And probably, and most importantly, something better is waiting for me.
Absolutely. I tell people to think about things as a divine detour. Maybe it's not coming to you because there's something so much better. And we sit there, we focus on, but I want that. But you don't even realize what else is there. So now I'm going to
Exactly.
switch gears again. You just released a book. And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about it. So you talk about transformation and self worth in this book. I want you to share a personal butterfly effect moment. And by butterfly effect, I mean there's a small action or small decision that led to a significant change in your life path. Can you think of one?
Well, even the small shift is just speaking. So how I started my career, actually, it was during the COVID when I was working as a Tony Robbins coach,
Hmm.
and then I was holding myself back because I didn't share anything. I was thinking, like I knew I have more in me than just working one on one, but I was always thinking, I don't know, I'm not good enough, you know, it's not worthy, like this. All the time I had these
Even after
excuses.
going through all the training to be a Tony Robbins
Well,
coach, you still
even
had
there,
that.
even
Wow.
exactly, you are like,
Interesting.
and then I had another case with my son when I gave birth to my son, and it was very tragical because They stitched my urethra to my cervix when I had cesarean unplanned. But I will not go there. But it was very dramatical. So I had to close the deal with God. I said, you know what, God, if you're going to help me, I promise you, I'm going to share this message with the whole world. I'm going to do my best to serve more people. And Marcia, actually, the magic happened. From the medical perspective, doctors said this is impossible. Like the way I healed myself with my thinking, with visualization. And then I was like, okay. So I promised God that now, and what I did,
I
I
got to
just took,
deliver.
yeah, I was like, I have to keep I took my phone and I started to record during the COVID. I started to share my knowledge that I learned from Tony Robbins, my experience from business, and it went crazy. Like, and I didn't have any Marcia expectation that it's gonna be something. I did it because I had the deal, right, between me and God, and people were like another follower, another, and then now, because of that moment when I made a decision and took my phone just to share what I think about mindset, what I think about control, about so much power there is within us. We don't need to be living in fear. And now I am really transforming thousands of people's lives. I have created 14 programs. Like now I'm going internationally exactly because of that one Instagram
I love
story
it.
that I started at that day when I healed myself.
That's really important because I think so few people are afraid to take, are so few people will take that step, that one little step, that leap of faith. And for you, you're thinking, all right, I'm just going to share this. And you had no idea where it was going to
Mm,
go.
not at
And some
all.
people don't realize that. I tell people this all the time. It could just be one sentence that you say that can change somebody's life. And every single person has the ability to change a life. You don't have to be a healer or a Tony Robbins coach or a person that has, a PhD. You could say that one sentence, and that's when that person needs to hear it.
Yes.
And that person's life changes. And then the hope is that they pay it forward. So tell me, if you people read before people get the book of Unstoppable You, which is what it's called, what are three big takeaways you'd want them to know about it?
About the book.
Yes.
So the book, first of all, it's gonna guide you exactly. It's gonna show just my life journey, and I never
Hmm.
teach anything to people unless I've been going through this, because I don't
Hmm.
like to teach just some kind of strategy
Theory.
that I have
Right.
theory that I have read. So it's always based on my experience, where I'm like sitting down and thinking, okay, fantastic. Now I'm living this abundant life. How did I do it? So there are step by step, like a formula for the people to understand how did I became from came from point A to point B. The second thing, what is really good, I'm also kind of giving my coaching through the questions, and every after each chapter there are some questions that people can ask themselves and reflect. And the third thing also, it's going to be an inspiration, because you see, when people come into my field, whether it's through book or something, they're like, you know what, Lena, when I'm listening to you, I just want to get up and do something, right? So I guess this is my gift in this world, that I'm kind of shaking, awakening people and saying, you can do this, I believe in you, you can. So
Right.
they're going to be very inspired, and hopefully, they're going to impact other lives as well, because behind every single person we have at least 50 people that are around us, and we gonna change their lives at the moment when we change our life.
I love that.
So
So
just
you are in Latvia. Are there any cross-cultural differences that you think? And I said you said you're reaching thousands. Um, Are there any things in your book or in how you coach or in your methodologies that might work differently in different cultures? Have you found that some cultures may not be as receptive or may be more receptive to some of your teachings?
that is again a very good question. And uh, while I was working as a Tony Robbins coach, so I had all my clients were different, from different cultures: Spanish, British, American, Australian,
Mm.
Russians, like you name it, all of the cultures. And I was thinking actually it's going to be different, but actually we are all the same. All of us, we have this mindset, we have limiting beliefs and everything else. So the psychology is exactly the same. And we are no different. Yes, maybe we eat different food. Yes, maybe we sing different songs. But the psychology, the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, theta brainwave state, alpha, all of us, we have the same. So it works for everybody.
Do you find any differences between men and women when you're trying to help them transform their lives? Are there certain kinds of things that might be easier or harder depending on whether this person's a male or a female?
Very interesting, Marcia. I kind of work mostly in the crowds in my programs with women, but when my VIP clients are coming, they're mostly men and not, just somehow the things happen because I'm direct and they always like direct feedback and everything. And I think everybody is different. And when you are on the mission, you are just not separating. I enjoy working with men so much just because I can also see when they speak about their relationships, or actually they're so vulnerable and fragile and they just want to be understood, and they want just somebody is not all the time fighting and hunting, but just really also learning and being there in a moment. And women have different challenges, right? If you ask me between men and women, I will say there's a big, huge difference, right? But if you ask me between the cultures, then I say no. But men and women, um, since I have learned so much about each of these perspectives, and I needed to help myself. You can't help others unless you have helped yourself. So I know the approach for both genders.
What do you think you learned the most from being a Tony Robbins coach?
Whew. When we went through the training, it was so hard. Like, my best friend, she's from Israel and she has been in army. She said even in army it wasn't that
Oh my
that
gosh.
exactly. But what I learned the strength that I have, and I
Hmm.
got a huge experience just because so many people were coming to us and different. And the motto there is you need to play, to coach anybody, anyone, anytime, in any place, and you cannot differentiate. Just that's how we improved our skill of coaching. So, and this I learned, and also we had to give the result within 30 minutes, because the coaching session, if you come as a client for Tony Robbins, it's like 30 minutes. And so these are the main things. Very fast, you shift it, you just change it. And also I learned for myself that I understood what I want and what I don't want in my business. Just,
And I think a lot of people don't know what they don't want either.
yeah,
They don't know what they want and they don't know what they don't want. They
yeah.
just know they don't want to keep doing what they're doing.
And this is the
Uh,
experience.
so, what is a common myth or misconception that people have about self worth? Because your book helps people with their self worth.
Right.
What's a big myth that people have about that?
I'm not sure about myth, but I can tell that the self worth is going to be the direct, it's going to be your mirror, what you have right now in your relationship, with your money. So if you are not happy and satisfied with your income or with your relationship with your partner, or the way, it's all about your self-worth, because the worthy person knows their standards, they know their boundaries, they know what they want, what they deserve. And if it's not happening, then the first step is to work on your self-worth, because then you will know, okay, I will not settle for less. I know who I am, I know what I want. And when I had this shift, then everything changed in my life.
And I think that's really important because we talked about before, a few people don't know what they want and then they devalue themselves, right? So people stay in relationships that they know that they shouldn't stay in, but they're afraid to go out because they don't want to be alone.
Mhm.
But it's their self-worth saying, I'm not going to find anything better, so I better just stay with this,
Yes.
or stay in the job or the career that they know in their soul is not right for them. But like you said, they don't sit, we keep ourselves so busy that we don't have to think about, hey, there's something better and more out for me. So now you've written a book. What's a book or a song or a mantra or something that really inspired you?
For me, it's firstly, the sky's the limit. For me, this is definitely about me. You can have really all. And that is helping me on my journey to my success is always, I don't know how I gonna get it. I don't know when I gonna get it, but I know I gonna get it.
I love it. And that might be the perfect way to end this. If people want to work with you, how can they do that? And of course, we're going to put all of your links in the show notes so people can get your book and they can look at your website, your YouTube channel, everything. But who do you typically work with, and how can they work with you?
So now actually I am starting the course next year at the beginning of year on exactly the topic how to create your dream life in relationship, wealth, health, because there are three things that people want. It's health, it's wealth, and relationship. So I
Mhm.
crafted the formula, and the course name is Wealth Formula, that's going to guide step by step people how to create abundant life. It's more like manifestation topic, right? Also the energy, also how to solve relationship with your parents in order for
Ah,
you to achieve what you want. So these are all the topics that I'm covering. So if they want to check more, I have an Instagram, Liene, Liene Uresina, Uresina, and my website. So I will be very honored and grateful if anybody comes and writes me the message. I'm always, sharing. I'm always responding to the people who write me and their biggest takeaways from this beautiful podcast, Marcia. And thank you so much.
excellent. Now, what's the biggest takeaway? If people remembered nothing else from this interview, what's the one thing you want them to remember?
That they are worthy and we are all capable of changing any circumstances that we have right now. Whatever you are in, it doesn't matter where you are in right now. What really matters, what do you want, and whether you're gonna shift from this I can't to I can. We can change any situation. I truly believe in this, and I've been as a real
And you're
example.
living proof of it. You're
Yes,
living proof of it.
yes, I'm walking my
So
talk.
you walk and you talk. So
Yes.
thank you so much, Liana, for being on the podcast. I'm going to see you at May in Basel, Switzerland with Joe Dispenza. And for those of you who listen to this podcast, if you learned something, please make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast and do share this episode. There's some really good nuggets, whether you're thinking about money, manifestation, relationships, mindset, etc. So thanks again, Liana. It's been wonderful
Thank
talking to
you.
you.
Thank you for having me, Marcia.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks so much for joining us. Stay tuned for the next episode. If you like what you heard, subscribe and share it with others.